All right, next up is Vas. He's going to be talking about beyond data management with Globus.
Right, thanks. Yeah, largest number of slides for 5. So I'm with the University of Chicago with the Globus team. You may know Globus for the stuff on the left, moving data around, sharing data, getting unified access to lots of different types of storage systems and moving data between them. But I'm going to focus just briefly on the stuff in the middle, particularly the remote execution and reliable automation. Those are things we've been focusing on and developing most over the last couple of years. And all of this stuff is available both in a SaaS form and a more of a platform versus using REST APIs. So I'm going to sort of work my way up. So the big service for us the last 3 years or so has been the Flow service, which is a way to orchestrate tasks throughout the research life cycle. We've leveraged Amazon Step Functions for this. We've built our Globus auth permissions model around it. You can string together what we call actions that call these things called action providers, and those can act on either Globus services or other services. So there's an extensible provider API that allows you to add your own actions and how they sort of fit into the whole ecosystem. It's a very simple use case. I've got data from my clusters. I want to move it to, let's say, an iRod store to share with partners and collaborators. You can have that be a flow that just runs on demand through an API call, through a script. A more interesting use case that we're doing a lot of work on is pulling data off of instruments. So cryo-EM is the thing that's eating everybody's data right now, where you've got some compute in the middle, and I'll talk about compute next. There's also some carbon in the middle, so there's humans looking at stuff, doing things interactively. So being able to take that all the way through to publication, essentially, with metadata. So we've got workflows that are running at scale, doing 10, 20,000 runs at a time at places like the APS. So if you're interested to learn more about that, I'd be happy to talk about it. The next thing we focused on is thinking about remote compute and trying to borrow a page from what we've done with data management and do that for remote compute management. So the key elements for us are, how do you do this in a fire and forget way? I want to compute this on that system. How do I just do it and not worry about the details underlying that? So uniform access. How do I incorporate this federated access control that we have across all the services? And how do we make it easy for researchers to use? Because they typically think of in terms of high-level languages where the unit of work is sort of the function. So we've taken the function as a service model, AWS Lambda, Google, whatever you want to, whatever your example is. We've made functions as a service that you can use to run compute on any type of resource. From my laptop to a supercomputer, we have this running over the last couple of years now, and we most recently made it available to everybody in April. It's all Python pip installable. The backend can be any scheduler, Kubernetes. It can be a local fork execution. You create what we call a compute endpoint. Users register functions, and then from the user standpoint, they request that this function be run on that endpoint. Globus does the orchestration, runs the thing there, takes the data, puts it wherever it needs to go, takes the results, and does all of that stuff. So you can use it to execute a bag of tasks if you're doing, let's say, a parameter sweep. Another common use case is running some automated analysis pipeline that has multiple compute steps that require different types of resources. And we've also got a few people using it as a platform for building their own compute services. So we have some metadata extractors that are actually running where you want to run metadata at different compute centers based on where the data is located. And then the third piece that was on the top there, the search service. So this has been out a long, long time. We've got a lot of portals that use this, but it becomes very important when you want to roll it into these end-to-end flows, where we've got the scalable metadata store that has, very importantly, fine-grained access controls on the metadata. So we've got the access controls on the data. We also have it on the metadata. We pull those things together, and we've got portals like this. This is an example from a project we did jointly with University of Pittsburgh. You've got faceted search. It displays only the metadata that's available or that can be seen by that user. Users can log in with one of over 1,800 federated identity providers. So
Right.
that's one example. And then there's another one here.
Very
If
good.
anybody wants to look at it. It's you can go to that website. A couple of those portals are available for you to look at. So happy to chat more, and there's stuff on those slides you might want to read more closely. All right, thanks.
Excellent.